Hey, in this video I'm going to take you with me on a road trip to the north of Portugal, to Porto, to one of the best recording studios in the country, to record an amazing long-tail piano through a vintage Neve console. In this video I'm going to share with you my process and thinking for capturing that kind of an instrument in an Ableton project. And stick around till the end, because on the drive back home we're actually also going to stop off in Nazaré, this place in Portugal that has these incredibly humongous waves that people actually surf. And I went there and I actually learned why it is that these massive waves occur there. So I think this is going to be a super interesting video. Come along for the ride. All right, so today is the traveling day. I'm going to be driving over to Porto. And yeah, let me show you the gear that I have planned for this. So I ended up basically grabbing my laptop, my controllers, my audio interfaces, and a TB303 clone. It's actually like this modded out version thing Behringer did, because I realized that it sounds really cool with piano. I've been doing these tests, and against the piano it was just such a cool vibe. So that's what I'm going to be taking. This is the gear. Yeah, just the basics, so I can give myself backing tracks, click tracks and all that, and be able to capture signals into Ableton while the studio will capture signals to their DAW. Quick update, I've been driving north now for about 2.5 hours. The weather got really bad, it's pouring down. Man, it got cold and wet in a hurry. I'm about an hour now from Porto. Okay, so I've just arrived in what will be my home for the next 2 days. Very startup-y. Let's have a look. Okay, so I've arrived in the hotel here in Porto now, and yeah, it's funky. It's kind of like a sauna meets bunker. It's like a co-working space in a hotel. It's like all this weird sauna wood and then a whole bunch of like concrete everywhere. So I'm looking forward to getting some sleep. I'm tired after that long drive. So this is the day to go to the studio. As you can probably tell, I'm really excited. This looks like it could be. Yes, this is it. So pulling into ARDA Recorders. Just walked into the studio and met the lovely staff, Rui and Elizabeth, that are going to be helping today. And let me give you a quick tour of what this is looking like. I'm still totally blown away that I get to use this stuff today. There's Elizabeth and Rui setting up the piano. And this is the vintage Neve console that we're going to be tracking through. Ridiculous, even an unfair child in the rack here. I don't even know what these are. Incredible outboard gear. Unbelievable. There's some old Focusrite units that I haven't seen in ages. Nice Avalon. Really old technology, these Ampex guys here, super nice. A whole rack of API pre's, unbelievable what they have here. Nice Bricasti M7, not quite sure what these monitors are. Yeah, and as you can tell, I'm a little bit blown away. This console is something else. It's just beautiful. Wow. An old Ampex 24-track tape machine. Back here is another tape machine. What is this? Otari. There's an AKG reverb here. That's really interesting. That's good to know. Here's the audio interface, this machine room, some patching. Unbelievable, what a place. Yeah, so I'm very, very excited. Here's as you can see, is a little booth. What a studio, it's unbelievable. And here we're going to the main room now. That's Rui and Elizabeth. Hello. They're going to be helping me today to set all this up and record. And this is the incredible long-tail Fazioli piano that we're going to be recording. Okay, so I'm only sharing a little bit of those recordings with you because I actually streamed the whole day on my YouTube. So if you want to go just like jump through and listen to different parts of the recording, I'll link that somewhere here. But I want to keep this video on point about what it's like to record in a studio like ARDA Recorders and why I can highly recommend to you to go to a studio like that because it's such an inspiring, incredible experience. Okay, so this is the end of the day here in this beautiful studio. Yeah, ribbon mics is what we ended up using mostly. And yeah, there's some Neumanns here for the room. Most of the bass lines came from this little 303. And yeah, what I've done is this laptop was just for some YouTube stuff. And over here was my setup, which was pretty much what I use always. 2 controllers, my loop starters, and then I was recording into tracks here and into new sessions, new tracks that I was starting with the 303 and the piano. Indispensable. Having wireless headphones in the studio is such a gift. I'm so happy for these things. And yeah, they were basically doing a submix of the piano mic signals on the Neve desk over here, and they were sending me back a stereo mix that I tracked through this Prism Orpheus over here to the computer. So let me share with you why I set up my Ableton the way I did to capture this beautiful instrument only as a stereo track going into Ableton. And the reason for this is that I'm a very big believer in getting things right at the source and then keeping things as simple as possible. What I opted to do was to ask the engineers at the studio to set me up with a mix. And we worked on that for quite a while till we got something which felt like, it didn't feel like a classical piano, but something like was a little bit more crunchy and more interesting to listen to. And they basically then sent me that as a mix where I was like, yeah, this sounds really good. I like it. It fits also together with the music. And then we added reverbs to it till it just felt like it was the right sound. And I can always go back to the Pro Tools session they gave me, which has everything multi-track, but I love having the simplicity of actually just capturing it in the right place in my Ableton session, matching to the track and just having it done and it's there. So keep it simple, capture the best sound you can at source and work with a good mix that you're happy with, that works in the music you're going for, and just get it to tape the way you need it, which I know is a very old school approach, but I can highly recommend it. So you may be wondering where this idea came from. Well, the thing is that I've worked in quite a lot of studios and I know that very often they'll have sort of gap days or weekends where basically the studio is not booked, and it's very hard to book because most people want to be there for a couple of consecutive days or weeks, right? So what I realized is if I reach out to the studio and see if they have a gap somewhere, they may be likely to give me a really good price for just going in there for one day. And that's exactly what happened. And I do have to say that after the end of the first day, especially when everything was set up and ready to go, I kind of wished also that I had another day to keep going. But now listening back to the recordings, I captured enough stuff to work with for like the next weeks. And knowing that it was just one day also really just put me in the zone where I knew like this is it and I have to play now and I have to record now. And it wasn't like, oh, let me go hang around on the sofa of the control room and play on my phone a bit or whatever, right? It was like, this is it. Like this is the couple of hours you got to make music. So actually being that forced to be that condensed was actually really good. So yeah, that was the session, which is what a rush, what a trip. Yeah, incredible. I mean, just look at this place. Hi, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. Obrigado.
Thank you.
So this is Elizabeth. She was managing everything in here while I was playing.
Hello.
So great. Thank you so much. Yeah, beautiful desk. We used just the mic pre's on the desk, ran them into some distortion, into some saturation for the ribbon mics, which gave it a really nice grit. We just tracked everything like one really long session. And yeah, here you can get an idea of some of the outboard gear that they have here. So if you want to level up your production or your samples, your kick drums, your bass lines, renting a place like this for a day or two and just running your signals through these with the help of the lovely people here would make a huge difference for how your music sounds. So I can highly recommend making this investment like that rather than buying plugins. I mean, for the price of 2 plugins, 3 plugins, you can be here for a day. I mean, what do you even have to think about? So yeah, unbelievable. And that is the end of the day here in Porto, in ARDA Recorders Studio A. Go visit them on their website, I'll link it below. And you can expect to hear the tracks we recorded here on my album, which I hope to finish sometime this summer. So that was my impressions from ARDA Recordings, but now we still have one thing that I promised you that we're going to check out in this video, which is Nazare. Hey everyone, so since I was driving past it, I am now almost at the beach of Nazare, which I'm sure you've seen on your Instagram feed. It's this place here in Portugal where very brave surfers ride these incredibly big waves. And I've always wanted to come and check it out. So I'm gonna take you with me to come have a look. So yeah, as you can see, we're on a really elevated point already here. This is that crazy fort. You always see, and today is not a big wave state. Like average, I guess. If like me, you've wondered why the hell the waves are so big here, this is why. There's an undersea canyon here, which is extremely deep and then gets less deep very quickly and then leads into this place where the waves basically hit the coast. I can show it to you here, actually. It's also really nice graphic. So I think this is a great spot to finish this video and share with you a couple of the things that I kind of learned over the last few days going on this little adventure. So I definitely will do this more often. What I've realized is that for what you spend for like 2-3 plugins, you can get access to literally millions of euros worth of gear and installations, beautiful instruments like the Fazioli piano, incredible outboard gear, this vintage Neve. Once you have your basic things that you really need to work, I think doing this and going to a different place and working with the amazing, engineers that are there, like the people that helped me yesterday, João and Elizabeth and Rio, who all helped to get a specific sound that I was looking for this piano. It was just such a valuable experience, and what I cannot fail to address is what an inspiration and what a rush it was being in this situation where I'm sitting behind this incredible instrument, like in a big room, knowing everything's being recorded in super high resolution. It motivated me to play better than I've ever played before. And even though I'm not a great piano player, I know I got a whole bunch of loops and kind of ideas yesterday that I'm gonna basically use as the backbone for a new album. And I love the fact that they're all gonna have this incredible real instrument in there. So rather than saving for the next soft synth or VST or I don't know, some piece of gear, I think going to whatever studio is close by and seeing if you can get it on an off day is a great recommendation. It was super inspiring and just made me think about things differently. I played differently than I ever play on synthesizers. It was just such a great experience, and also it's given me a lot of drive and motivation now to finish this album. I think if you're friendly and courteous with the people that are there and that have an off day in the studio, I think you can achieve a lot in 8 hours. We spent about an hour and a half on setup, and then I spent about 6 hours recording with a little break for lunch. And yeah, it was amazing. So I can highly recommend ARDA Recordings. I'll put information about them in the link in the description. And if you're not in Europe or not close to Portugal, check out what's happening in your city. Support your local studios. Make sure that spaces like this don't go away. And I think you can get some really interesting things going in your music. So that's it for me. I'm going to leave you with some impressions, some of the music that I recorded at ARDA Recorders, so you get an idea of kind of what the vibe was. And I'll share a bit of this view with you. I hope you have a great time in the studio, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.